let's start with the login. So first of all, just enter the credentials which has been provided or which you had generated. After successful login, it opens the dashboard page. Now on the dashboard, we have multiple things, like we have all the pending stuff like the purchase order, work orders, or any of the bills which hasn't been approved yet. So all those pending approval section, all those pending approval things will be displayed here. Here we'll have the analysis of the different sites, like how much amount is actually dispersed and how much amount is how much what is the value of the committed contracts. Here is the small overview of all the different sites which are currently on, and we can just go inside any of the sites after clicking into these or any of different formats from here. So let's start with one by one process. Let's create a new project. So let's name the project as this is not mandatory, but for our reference we can just add the number if we need to add, otherwise it's completely fine. This is also something which will be used in the future, but right now this is not relevant to any of the stuff which has been into our system. So we can just write manually, or we can just write the exact cell, like exact area of the project as well. Once the project is created, it gives us the this particular portfolio. For our reference, we can just add, like let's say if there are 5 towers which has to be built up into this particular project, we can just add all those towers here for the reference. This will be used in the upcoming module of sales, where for each tower will have different sales which has been mapped out. So now we have 6 sites. The new one, test one, is created here. Let's start with the first process. Let's analyze the budget and BOQ engine. Now this is something which is for setting up all the caps, like all the limits to different categories, and all the different BOQ items which we can create. So let's first create a category. Let's create a category of civil construction, and let's say if we allocate the total amount on this civil construction side to allow let's say 10 crores, just for the example. uh, this will not this is just for the reference and for the cap, so we have an idea of how much has been used under this category, how much is still left. Now let's create a BOQ line items based upon our current step by step progress. Let's say if we start with creation of tower A, we will first select the budget category. Let's say if we have we can add different budget categories here as well. Let's say for electrical we allocate 5 cr, and yeah, let's start with adding some BOQs. So let's say we add in the civil construction, and we can select whether this particular BOQ item is mapped as a measurement based thing or a lump sum thing. So let's assume that it's a measurement based, and we name it as RCC framework for tower A. The unit of measurement is square meter, and the quantity is let's say 10,000 square meter. This is just an example. We can set it according to our live projects. This is the rate cap. Let's say if we have the rate cap of 1000, we can set it out. So we'll just save it. Okay, so now this generates the generates the one BOQ for this particular package under this category. Now we'll go on to budget versus actual thing. We can see here. Now we have created this particular BOQ which has this budget cap. Right now nothing is billed or nothing is committed under this particular category. Now let's move on to the next section. So this is a simple financial summary for this BOQ engine, which states that right now the cap limit for this particular site is this one. Now this is the total of all the different categories which we have created. Let's say if we create a BOQ for electrical, then that particular electrical site will be here and the total cap will be shown here. Now let's start with the second module, which is the procurement and subcontracts. It has three things: material requisition, purchase orders, and work orders. So everything is a step-by-step process and each module is dependent on the previous module. Now to create a purchase order, first the material request should be created. Now let's say we start with the material request. We need to create for a particular BOQ which is created. So we have only one right now. So we'll create a BOQ for this. And let's say we need the cement. The unit of measurements are bags, and the quantities which are required for this particular site is for this particular BOQ is 5000. Okay, so now this particular request has been created. It's not compulsory that we create the complete request for this particular thing in the start only. Let's say if we need to create another request for the same particular BOQ line, then also we can create it. So that will not create any issue. Yeah, it was my mistake here. Actually we'll type the material and the bags and the quantities which are required. So we can create multiple requests for any BOQs, multiple requests for one BOQ as well, that we can definitely create. Now once this is created, a person who is in charge of this particular thing needs to do the this verification thing, and after verification this particular user will approve this particular request. Once this will be approved, then only in the purchase order this particular request will be populated, otherwise it will not populate. So let's approve this. Okay, so we have created a request of cement and 5000 is requested and the status is also approved. Let's go on to purchase orders and let's create a new purchase order. Let's name it as purchase order 1, and we have to select the approved indents. So we have this one particular of cement 5000. We clicked. We will select a vendor. So let's first go on to the vendor section. We have all the vendors already created. We can create a new vendor from here. Vendor name, GST number if it is there, the contact person and the contact person phone number. Let's create it. Test 2. Okay, so the new material vendor is created, which is test 2. Let's go back to the purchase order, create a new purchase order for this particular request. Let's select the vendor test 2, and the BOQ line is automatically selected as RCC framework for tower A, which we have created and which is already linked with the material request. Now this was a measurement based project. So the item description was cement, the total quantities was this, and the purchase order, after confirming all the quotations with different vendors, the rate is fixed. Let's say it is 250 and the GST is 18%. This is just the purchase order which we can create, which we can update afterwards while doing the billing for the GST number, the GST value and all. The delivery date, which is compulsory, which we can like put up as an estimate, and let's just create this particular purchase order. Now as soon as the purchase order is created, it's still in the pending approval section. We need to approve this, then only it will be available in the next section, which would be like for recording the grns. Now let's approve this. Okay, so this particular purchase order has been approved. Let's go on to the back. It's stating pending approval, just refresh it. Okay, now this is approved. Now let's create a work order as well, because it is part of this particular module. Right now no work order has been created. Let's create a new work order. Let's name it as work order 1. Let's select a contractor. We have a subcontractor section. We can add the subcontractor in the same way as we added the vendors. So let's add it. This contractor. Okay, so the test contractor has been added. Right now nothing has been billed for this particular contract. Now let's go on to the work orders and create a new work order. Let's select the contractor, the test one. The BOQ line is this. Okay, so this was a measurement based, automatically selected, populated. The scope of work is this, the square come approx quantity. Yeah, so now it depends upon the work orders. If it's a complete work order as per the BOQ line, it's up to the user how he needs to manage. Let's say the original BOQ was set to 10,000, and let we create a work order for 5,000 only, and the unit rate was 1,000, which was the cap. Let's set it to 800 for now. The GST is 18 and we have the retention values. This is customizable. Let's set it to 1 right now, and let's issue a work order. Okay, so now a work order has been issued of total 47 lakh and 20,000, and the retention is this much. The scope is this, the unit rate is this. Now still this is in the pending approval. This needs to be approved. If this is not approved, then the measurements cannot be recorded, which is the next part, which will go on afterwards. So we can see like right now this is pending. So the one user needs to verify and all the checks. If this is wrong, he can reject or he can delete and then just create a new work order. So let's approve this. Okay, so now this has been approved. Yep, so the status of this particular work order has been approved. This was all about this particular module, where we have material request, creating purchase orders and creating work orders. Okay, so let's go on to the next, which is site and inventory. This is particularly for site and store operations. So right now we had done the request for this cement, and the purchase order has also been issued for this cement for 5,000 bags. So automatically that cement will be presented here, but right now the stock is 0 because we haven't received anything, because we haven't noted any GRNs here. So let's add a GRN, the good received note. Now we need to select the active purchase order. So right now the active purchase order is only one, which is this. So let's select that. The ordered quantity was 5,000. Right now we haven't like the remaining deliverable quantity is 5,000. So let's say we received on 9th and the quality was okay. We can change it based upon the notes which we want. Let's say we receive 2,000 as a first, and out of those, if let's say only 1,800 or let's say 1,890 were let's say 1,990 for, yeah, and 10 was rejected, and we can just put a remark for the rejected quantities, like maybe it was bad packaging or anything based upon the notes which we want to put up. So let's just record this GRN. Okay, So we have one GRN received for this particular purchase order, and the received quantity was 2000, but when we only accepted this much and the rejected quantities was this. Now let's go on to the stock balance. Yeah, we can see the stock has been updated to 1990. Now let's record another GRN for that particular purchase order. Now we can see the remaining bags which needs to be received was 30,010. Let's say now we received all of them, and we accepted all of them. So in this way, we will record the GRNs for all the purchase order, and the stock will be updated automatically. So now we have all the 5000 bags received based upon the purchase order which we have created. So let's have a look on some of the financials which has been updated. So now the total committed obligations, or the total committed things based upon the purchase orders and the work orders, the total is around this much. So we have an idea based upon the total budget cap, like still how much is uncommitted cushion. So whenever we issue new purchase order or new work order under this particular site, we have an idea like this much amount is still left with us. Now let's move on to the another aspect of this site and inventory, which is the measurement. Now this is related with the work orders. We have this GRN for the purchase orders, and now this is for the work orders. Let's record one measurement for this particular work order. It automatically goes with this. The unit of measurement was this much, and the work order was issued for total of 5000 square meters. Now let's say we measured that on 10th, and total 1000 was completed. We can put any kind of task or location details or any of the remarks which we add. So let's add this. Okay, so the work order has been created. The status shows unbilled because this particular measurement is not yet billed, or maybe let's say the contractor has not issued the bill to us. Let's go on to this. So now we can see total of this much is still left for this work order. The measurement date, let's say if we measured on 15th and we find out that like the complete 4000 has been completed. Okay, so now we can see the work order which was issued has been measured, and that has been done. When we'll go on to this, we'll not be able to find any work orders because that was already finished up right away here. So this was about logging all the measurements which a site manager can do it. This section is the site transfer. Let's say if we need to transfer some of our equipment, some of our materials to another site, we can just select any other site. Just select the current inventory. We have cement 5000 bags available. Let's say we transfer 1000, and the date was 11th, and we transfer to this particular site. So okay, yeah, so this is done. When we'll go on to this particular site, and we'll go on to the stock balance, the cement of 1000 will be updated here. And when we'll go on to our side and just go on to stock balance, the 1000 bags has been removed. So in this way we can have all the site transfers. If any wastage has been done, we can also log the wastage based upon the current inventories which we have. So we have a note that how much has been wasted for this particular site or for this particular operations. So this was all about this particular module. Now let's go on to the fourth module. This is the module for specifically for adding the bills which we receive from vendors or subcontractors. So the user which has the access of this particular thing, the main motive is to just add all the bills which has been received. Let's start with adding a bill of a purchase order which we have received from the vendor. So this was the purchase order, and it is unbilled. So all the unbilled purchase order will be displayed here. So let's select this. Let's name it as bill dash purchase order 1/1. The total amount is this. If a partial bill has been achieved, we can just write the partial amount. The bill date, let's say it's set to 10, and the payment due which we need to do is, let's say we set it to 14. The GST was 18%. We can customize, and this is so now we have created the bill. So we have created the bill against the purchase orders. It is visible here. It still shows the approval status as pending approval, and this is the three-way match, which is important. It shows matched. So let's have a walkthrough of why it shows matched. So now we can see the bill was captured, three-way verification is here done. The original purchase order was of this much. The total GRNs based upon the quantities and this number which has been received sums up to this, and the current bill from the vendor which we had received, it is this. So this is the three-way match. It ensures that the everything which has been done, which has been received, which was issued, and which had been come, that all matches to the exact value. So this is perfect. If there is a discrepancy in any of those, let's say if the GRNs has not been recorded, or maybe the bags has not been received, it will show a mismatch. So it gives us the signal that something is wrong at the back end, so we need to check it. So now we will approve the bill. Let's approve this. Okay, so the bill has been approved. Now similarly, the process is for creating the RA bills against the measurements which has been taken for a particular work order which was issued for one particular BOQ. So let's click work order. Let's click the approved work order, which was this much, which was unbilled. We can verify it here. We can just go to procurements, work orders. We know that this was the work order which has been like issued, and the measurements against this work order total are of 5,000. Now we can see that still it is remaining in the work order. I think it was issued for 10,000. So let's go on to contractor bills, RA bills. Let's click on work order. Let's click on this. Yep. Now we can see the two measurements has been taken off. It's upon us, like the bill which we have received, the RA bill which we have received, is against a single measurement or from both the measurements. That's the choice we have. If we choose both, the total amount will be updated here. Let's do it. Let's do for both the measurements. Let's name it as work order 1-1, and the date is 9. Payment due date this 15th. The GST, this is based upon the user's choice. TDS, let's have a custom TDS of 1%. Oops. Yep. Okay. Now we can just attach any reference, a PDF or an image. Just record. Yep. So this bill has been recorded. It's still in the approval section. If a person is sitting here and he is approving all such bills, he can just verify that this much bill was received against the actual image of the bill, finds that like it was issued against which work order, and yeah, just click on approve. Okay, so this has been approved. So we can see that the work order and it has been approved. and everything is done. Now we have completed the 4 steps. The first one was creating a BOQ. Second one, procurement, contains the issuing the purchase order and the work orders. The third is the site and store operations, which refers to recording the GRNs for purchase order and recording the measurements for work orders. Account payables is the section where we receive or where we add the bills which we had received from the vendors or the contractors, vendors against purchase orders and contractors against the measurements. Now this comes the final section, which is the actual billing section, which we will note when we had done the payment. So we know that the unpaid bills are this much, the net payable is this, we haven't paid anything for both. All the ledgers are visible here, so it's easy for us to understand that how much of the actual billed value is present, and we haven't paid anything right now. So just record a payment, just select, let's say we are paying PO. The approved purchase order bill value is this much, and the bill against this purchase order which has been issued is this. Now the total payable amount is this. Let's say we only pay the partial amount. Okay, so the reference number we can attach based upon we receive the payment receipt for our for our future verification. Let's confirm. Yep, so we can see that for this particular bill we had paid this much amount. Sorry. Yeah, so still this much amount is left, and the payment disbursement shows that we had paid on 8th August and this much amount was paid off. It shows partial paid and this is unpaid. So let's do one thing, let's do the payment of this complete, so we have an idea of the complete bill payment as well. So it was work order, the bill against the work order was this much, this is the total amount. Let's say it was UTR dash work order dash 1, and let's confirm. Yep, so we can see that the status shows paid, it's partially paid. So the total due for the RA bills or the work orders, it's 0. For material vendors, it still shows this much amount has been left to pay out. The ledger total shows that this much is left, which matches with this one. Now let's record the payment of material vendors. Let's say we pay that. So the outstanding is 462. Let's just click on this, so this will automatically populate the outstanding. Let's say it was UTR-2, and let's confirm. Okay, so now we have recorded the payment for this RA bills, and it is completely paid. So right now the total due is 0 for any of those. So this was all about the different steps or different processes in the procurement, along with the work orders and all. We have the option for advance payments. We can record this if we want to record for any work orders or purchase orders, so that will automatically be subtracted from here. We have the payment history, which shows that like at which date, again which was the bill and how much was done, which was the mode. If we need to edit any payment, we can do the edit as well. It will automatically update the payment values and it will be updated here. Now this is the next section, which are subcontractors and material vendors. Now this shows the ledger for subcontractors, the total bill, total paid and total outstanding. We can open any of the subcontractors, like this was the one. The total bill was this much, we had paid this much, the total outstanding for this particular contractor is 0. We can see that the invoice was raised on 9th, and like we had done this for today, so it's just a mismatch because we had noted the invoice on this date. But yeah, date wise we'll see that the invoice was raised and this much we had paid. Similarly, for material vendors, we have the same thing. For each one of them, we'll have the complete information of the invoice and the payment history. the total outstanding shows 0.